Not gonna lie, yeah, I'm at the top. Figure, I don't even want to be involved with you the way I am because I want it all.
What up, though? All right, this is MagMongoSlade. Today we're going to be talking about NXT from February 21st, 2023. Mid-show, kind of disappointing to be quite honest. NXT had 7 matches. And my rule of thumb, the more matches on the show, the worse it typically is. And this show had way too many matches. Usually, matches in and of itself isn't a bad thing. It's just that when you have a lot of matches on the show, you're bound to have a bunch of matches that nobody cares about. And matches that just popped up on the show. And to make the show feel disjointed, unprepared, and usually it's a sign of a setup show. Meaning that it's a show to set up another show. And that's what this was. This show was to set up NXT Roadblock. I don't know what that is. I think it's a TV special. But I guess we'll see. Alright, let's get into this thing because there's no notes from NXT. At least not that I can think of. Trick Williams defeated by Ilia Draganov. Trick Williams cuts a great promo at the beginning, calling himself the bigger and better man. Going to beat the bald-headed bum of Ilia Draganov. The crowd 100% behind Draganov for the most part. But there's becoming a smattering. Maybe I shouldn't say 100%. Maybe I should have said 96%. Because there was a smattering of people very interested in Trick Williams. Very interested in Trick Williams. JD McDonough comes out to watch Draganov. I can't believe they're still feuding. I just cannot believe it's still going on. He joins commentary. I didn't listen to anything he said. I didn't pay attention. Trick Williams is on Booker T's Fave 5. That's cool. He's #1 in Fave 5. That's very cool. Pretty damn dope, I say. So Draganov wins. Torpedo Moscow. Right decision. Trick Williams did not embarrass himself. He actually looked pretty good. I'm a big fan of Trick Williams. Everybody knows this. Big fan of Trick Williams. Now, Trick Williams wasn't done for the evening, however. When he was backstage, he was icing himself down after the beatdown he took. And Carmelo Hayes approached, said that he was proud of Trick. Trick wanted to go back there and get something to eat. And Melo said he wanted to stay and watch the main event because he wanted to see who he was going to be facing at Stand and Deliver. And this is when Tyler Bate showed up. Tyler Bate came out there, and his new gimmick is speaking mumbo jumbo. It's similar to the mumbo jumbo he was speaking in NXT UK, where it's all Tai Chi, zig, yin yang, garbage. It's all nonsense. So Tyler Bate starts talking. He says, "The stronger the storm, the stronger the tree." And everybody's kind of like, huh? So Trick and Melo did like that. They did like that Tyler Bate showed up to show Trick Williams some respect. But Melo, of course, being who he is, said that he's glad that Tyler Bate doesn't want the title because the title is all him. What Tyler Bate does want, however, is to be able to cut a promo without people chanting "We want Waller" while he's talking. And that's exactly what happened. He was talking and they were chanting "We want Waller." I couldn't hear nothing he said. The only point is that he talked about the fans' support of him moving full-time to the United States infused him with, quote, spiffing support. And then said, "We're about to embark on a mystical journey." I was like, what is this fool talking? What? He said it twice because clearly the Schism missed their cue. So, Joe Gacy comes out, and Joe Gacy speaks very deliberately, very slowly, and his promo cadence is, kind of annoying. It's very, Tyler Bate, you and I are a lot alike. We are kindred spirits. I'm like, oh no, please get to the point. He's thinking like old ass LimeWire. It takes forever for it to load up. That's kind of how Joe Gacy promos are. All in all, the Schism surrounded Tyler Bate. They was about to jump him. Chase U came out to save him. This led to Chase U versus the Dyad, which, to be quite honest, bored me to tears. I cannot believe this was so bad. This match was entirely too long. Just entirely too long. The Dyad win. Thank God it ended at some point. Duke Hudson yelled that DAngelo has to grow up, and that Andre Chase has to make her grow up. DAngelo just kind of pathetically claimed that this loss was her fault because she's scared, mortified of Schism. Yeah, sure. Chase U, not for me. Dyad, not for me. I know everybody, I saw these fake fans of the Grizzly Young Veterans. You're a fake fan. 90% of these people are fake fans. Nobody cared about Grizzly Young Veterans. They came out and did their whole NXT UK shtick to crickets for like a year. And now somebody finally changed them. Not saying that they're doing better now, but they finally get changed. And, you know, all of a sudden, it's, oh, I miss those guys. Like, no, you don't. No, you don't. You can't possibly miss them. They sucked. And they were boring. You can't possibly miss those guys. Moving on. Tyler Bate cuts weird promos now. I don't get it. I don't... He's a good match fairy. That's really what it boils down to. I don't know. I guess they're continuing Tyler Bate and Grayson Waller. I don't know if Tyler Bate is a babyface. He seems to be a babyface, and he's going around and trying to cheer up the heels. Well, at least Trick Williams is still a heel. At least as far as I know. I don't know. I don't know what's going on anymore in NXT, man. They dumped all these Europeans on us and just let them run amok. Jinder Mahal's not European, though. They did a promo segment for him, saying that timing is everything. And that the boos have been getting strong for Brian Breaker. The crowd is not as into him. The energy is fading. The intensity is fading. And this is around the time of year where he lost to Dolph Ziggler. He said this year it's going to be him. He's going to be the one that's going to ruin the plan. This leads us to Brian Breaker to show the vignette for him. He didn't really talk because he doesn't have a character to really talk about. He's just kind of saying, NXT is my life. I'll give it my all. And then we had the main event. Jinder Mahal versus Brian Breaker. This match, ooh, buddy. Look, Brian was working super light against Jinder. I'm talking, he was working light as hell. The shoulders in the corner, man, I think Jinder probably could have escaped. Those things were so damn light. I don't know. He clearly was losing intensity. He clearly had no intensity in this match. I guess he was trying to not kill Jinder Mahal. I don't know if Jinder Mahal is still injured or whatever, but this was not a good showing for Brian Breaker, to be quite honest. He was working entirely too light. Carmelo Hayes was watching. Brian Breaker won, of course. He won from a spear. It was kind of whack, actually. Because he countered the Colossus. And when he turned around, he basically just tackled him. The spear had no oomph to it. He didn't hit the ropes. He didn't, hit off of a 3-point stance or anything like that. He just kind of reversed the Colossus. And then as soon as he turned around, boom, he was right there. Like, off of not even a pivot, just shoved off of 1 foot. And it's like, man, I know Jinder is a job guy, but seriously, I mean, can you make it look decent? At this point, Carmelo Hayes is watching Brian Breaker. I'm like, okay, I like this. And they're doing that thing. So that's interesting. They wasted a week. Jinder Mahal, stopgap. I don't know what you do with him now that he's lost. What do you do with him? We know that you got to get the belt off Brian. It's just a necessity at this point. Going back to the beginning of the show, Fallon Henley is still calling and apologizing to Jensen, but Jensen will not respond. Briggs says that he don't want to get in the middle of this. He's friends with both of them, but Fallon Henley was wrong, and that eventually Jensen will talk to her, but not right now. But she needs to go apologize to her tag team partner. And so Fallon is still hung up on this whole, why didn't you tell me? Just why didn't you tell me? It's like, girl, ain't none of your goddamn business. Man, ain't your business. You gossipy wench. Anyway, she said she's going to go to apologize to Kiana James in person. In person apology to Kiana James, which of course I thought was going to blow up in her face. And she was going to walk in on something. But she didn't. Instead, she walked in and just apologized to Kiana and still wanted to know why Kiana didn't tell her about this guy was her brother. And Kiana claims that she just wanted to be trusted. She wanted to see if Fallon could trust her, and she found out she didn't. Then she accused Fallon Henley of being jealous, which, good point. Good point. It's a good point. This whole thing is about the importance of trust. I'm thinking that either it's about to be a scheme and Kiana James will really get busted doing something she ain't got no business doing, or we're going to end up turning Fallon Henley heel. One or the other. I can't tell which at this point. Alright, this is my favorite part of the show. Mako Satomura is in the ring and she's training some female talents. And Roxanne Perez is very giddy to join the training camp. So Mako is, you know, older, got this whole Japanese thing going for her where she's a drill sergeant of a coach. And she's making the girls do crazy amounts of push-ups and squats and everything. And as you watch the vignette, various girls are quitting, they're walking away, but Roxanne's hanging in there. She's hanging in strong. They did 1,000 squats, and the last 2 left were Mako and Roxy. Roxy thought it was over when she hit 1,000 squats, but then Mako was like, "Oh no, that was just a warm-up." And it's a great visual of her smiling and Roxy looking destroyed. They continue to train. They, worked kick pads and boxing pads and everything. They actually in the ring wrestling. Rox is trying to talk to her, like, "Why are you training me? I'm going to be your opponent." Like, apparently I've been doing this all day and you finally getting to this point. But through the training, you actually can see the story that they plan to tell. Roxy doesn't have the stamina. She doesn't have the experience. She's not as tough. Satomura is showing through this vignette, that she can take damage. But she's also very encouraging. So she's trying to help Roxy learn as she's going along. And she's doing not good, if we're being honest. Like, her kicks looked pathetic. It doesn't look like she could have, broken a sentence with that damn thing. In any event, after the training is done, Satomura says that winning comes from the heart, not from the muscles. And she'll see her in 2 weeks. And I guess is that when Stand and Deliver is? I don't know when that is. And but that's when their match will be. I know that NXT does these training videos probably too much with the guest coaches and everything. They just did one with Gulak. They've been doing them with Andre Chase. They've been doing them with pretty much everybody. But once you recognize that NXT is a school, this kind of thing makes sense for them to do. But they do this a lot. The whole training thing. But I liked it. I liked that Roxy was in there, testing her mettle against Satomura in a non-wrestling way. And it's two people who can't traditionally cut good promos being put in a position to do some physical storytelling. So this is a really good thing. And that's why it was my favorite thing on the show, because it actually showed more character of Roxy. Like, she was still being sort of fangirly, but at the same time, she was hanging in there. She didn't give up. She didn't let it go. She didn't want to show any weakness to Mako Satomura. She wanted to show that she was on her level, that she could keep up. So I appreciated that. Thank you very much. All right. Speaking of which, Zoe Stark was pretty upset about this whole thing, asking why does Mako Satomura get a title shot and not her. And then she's the real final boss. So they're going to have a match next week. All right, fine. Zoe Stark is trying really hard to get this heel character over, but she's much better on Twitter than she is in person. Her Twitter persona is actually a lot crueler and would probably get a lot more over. She should just read her tweets. She should just tweet, and then her promo should be her reading her tweets. That would work, I think. I think that would make everybody more interested in Zoe Stark if you just read her tweets. Moving along. Rob Stone, he's talking to Von Wagner. He wants to see if Von Wagner's ready to open up, be vulnerable. And Von Wagner is yelling at him, talking about all he cares about is money and fighting. Tony DAngelo appears. He got a problem with Von Wagner stealing that North America title match from him. Von Wagner accepted the challenge, and they go have the match, even though Robert Stone didn't want it to happen. He actually said no. But Von Wagner's a big boy. He could do what he wants. He's going to do his own thing. So he goes out there, and they have the match, and Tony DAngelo wins. I don't know if this back suplex slam is Tony DAngelo's finisher. I don't hate it. Just, I don't know. I haven't seen Tony DAngelo use his finisher in a while. So, in any event, Tony DAngelo wins. Von Wagner is still on the outs. He's still arguing with Robert Stone. That seemed like it's been going on for far too long. In any event, Tony DAngelo has a promo after the match where he wanted to congratulate and thank Stacks for putting the family first. Because Stacks had an opportunity to leave him behind and take that North American Championship match. But Stacks puts family first. Hey, you put your family first. So Stacks is very cool with this. Now, Tony DAngelo said that he wants to deal with Dijak. And he said that him and Stacks were conversing about ways to make Dijak disappear. But he settled for finishing it in the ring and challenged Dijak to a jailhouse fight at Roadblock. That was interesting. Alright, so hopefully Tony DAngelo wins. And we won't have to keep going through this stuff because I don't like Dijak. I don't like him. Everybody knows I don't like him. I'm pretty sure everybody at NXT, if anybody ever heard me review any episode of NXT, you know that I don't like this guy. Just don't like him. He sucks. He's boring as hell. Find a more boring wrestler and I'll find you Dijak. You know, Dijak times 2. Moving on, Drew Gulak doesn't like Hank. Thinks that Hank is just too good of a guy. He's too nice. In this business, to succeed, you got to be able to rip arms off. You got to be able to tear limbs from limbs. You know, that's not what Hank wants to do. Hank is a nice guy. He's too nice. But that's what Charlie Dempsey does, so that's why he left with Charlie Dempsey. Okay. All right, sure. That works for me. I like Charlie Dempsey. I don't know why he needs Drew Gulak, but all right. I mean, it's a thing. JC Jane defeated Indy Hartwell by disqualification. She was kicking Indy Hartwell's ass anyway. I mean, it was just a beatdown, you know, coming. But Gigi Dolan attacked JC Jane during the match, chased her away. I liked this. You know, I liked, you know, that Gigi made a big return. They showed that Gigi did not care about this match at all or respected Indy Hartwell at all by attacking her in the middle of the match. But it also shows that JC was kind of about to win outright anyway. So through Gigi's interference, she still won, but she didn't win outright. So that kind of protected Indy Hartwell. I don't know. I feel like I've said 100 times that it's time for Indy Hartwell to get out of NXT. And I've seen people say, get her out of NXT to do what? I'm like, look, man, there's a women's tag team division that is woefully underutilized. And there's a lot of people you could dump in that tag team division. Indy Hartwell is one of them. She's probably not that great by herself, but if you put her, team her up with somebody else, you probably got something going on there. All right. So Sol Ruka thinks that the women's division is fun and that it's like waves because all the waves are different. I cringed at first. I was like, this is a cringe promo. But then she starts talking about trying new things and sucking at them, but she keeps trying. And it's a nice little metaphor for her wrestling career because up to this point, she's been a jobber. And she starts talking about how she tries different things and she keeps trying until eventually she succeeds. And the success makes her feel awesome. And that's the feeling that she's chasing in wrestling. Is that, you know, yes, she lost to Zoe Stark and she's lost matches before, but she's still trying. She's still going out there and she's getting better. And I was like, okay, I'm into this. All right. They're actually telling a decent story with this. Like, she tries all these different things and she's not good at them at first. But, you know, she keeps working at it and eventually she does get it. And it's supposed to be a nice little foreshadowing for her wrestling career. You know, very interesting. I like it. You know, it's creative. Could have done without her surfing and doing cartwheels in the sand and all that kind of stuff. This still is a wrestling show, by the way. You know, I would have liked to see her in the gym, more in the gym and stuff like that. You know, less surfing, but whatever. Gallus defeated Malik Blade and Idris Enofe. There was 2 weirdos that showed up with a cake that said happy anniversary. Apparently, it was the 2-year anniversary of Gallus losing to Pretty Deadly in NXT UK. And so Pretty Deadly had them a cake delivered. Of course, they beat up the guys who delivered the cake, only for Pretty Deadly to attack them from behind with chairs and absolutely beat their ass. Pretty Deadly is a permanent tag team fixture in NXT right now. And while I appreciate that, I would like for them to move on. I really would. But Malik Blade and Idris Enofe, once again, they had a good showing, but there's just no interest in moving these guys around. It's unfortunate, but it is what it is. Dabba-Kato, he's upset at Apollo Crews for not inviting him to come back to NXT with him. Said that he forgot about him for 8 months. He is the guy who helped him win the Intercontinental Championship, and yet Apollo came to NXT alone. And said that Apollo brought him into this world, but he's going to take Apollo out of it. I cringed at that last line because it's like, he gave birth to you? I mean, how did that happen? You know, like, I'm interested in the details of this. But, of course, I'm just exaggerating. Dabba-Kato. I don't think I care about Dabba-Kato, to be quite honest. Stevie Turner did a promo. She was backstage with her roster randomizer where she Googled the wrestler or whatever. Told some backstory stuff about them, what the inspirations are. And then she landed on Lyra Valkyria and decided to try to talk crap about Lyra Valkyria. And then said that Lyra Valkyria was no match for her. Stevie Turner's okay, but I'm not sure about this gimmick. This gimmick is, I don't know, it doesn't feel like it's getting over. It looks like it's going to be in 2 or 3 years on that bad or forgotten WWE gimmicks. It feels like that's what it's going to be on. Even if the girl herself turns out to be a big star, just feel like this gimmick is going to be on some, yeah, you remember when Stevie Turner did this stupid stream service thing? And everybody's going to be like, yeah, she was a Twitch streamer, but she didn't get naked. You know, which is the success of Twitch streamers, that they get naked. Stevie Turner needs to get naked. Speaking of getting naked, Nikita Lyons is back there. Nikita Lyons says she's going to be out for 11 or 12 months. Doesn't know what happened to her. She got clipped from behind. Tiffany Stratton approached her, said that even talking to Nikita Lyons is a waste of time because she's injured and everything should be focused on her. Nikita said that Tiffany Stratton came across as sus, to which Tiffany Stratton was like, sus? Ugh. Like, attacking you is like the least thing I want to do, especially in a parking lot, which, you know, of course, against her character. I mean, she walks through parking lots because they exist. There's no way she's going to fight in one. Then she starts talking about how Nikita Lyons is below the bottom of the most interesting thing in NXT, and she's just not interested in her. You know what? That's fine. That 11, 12 months thing is kind of nutty. And I think she probably should stop doing the splits. You know, maybe that's it. You know, jumping up on your hamstrings and all that, probably not a good idea. You know, repeatedly, probably not a good idea. Probably not a good idea, you know. But glad to see Nikita Lyons back. Oh, boy. That girl hot as fish grease, I tell you that much. Tatum Paxley was backstage looking all upset. She was crestfallen. And Ivy Niles about to have a match. Wanted her to be in the corner. Tatum Paxley's like, oh, I'll just stay back here. It's okay. And Ivy Niles like, why? You know, you're my tag partner. Come on out. And Tatum Paxley looks up at the Diamond Mine sign and like, I'm not a member of Diamond Mine. I can't be her partner. Am I really her partner? She goes out there anyway, and Alba Fire defeats Ivy Nile. I just said, it's not a bad match, but why does Ivy have to lose this? Why they give up on Ivy? What's up with that? Why did they just said, screw it. We're done with this girl. I don't know. It seems unfair to me. Seems strangely unfair. Because Ivy Nile, I know that she didn't look great here. Her punches probably could use some work. But She had a great look. She seemed to be coming into something. And then they just pulled the plug. It's been terrible for like a year now. After the way it started, for it to turn out this way, where she's just losing rando matches with no entrance, damn, that's not good. That ain't good at all. All right, Wesley announced another open challenge next week because it's who he is. That's what he wants to do. He wants to give opportunities. Okay, sure. Let's see who takes it next week. I'm not going to get too excited. Last time I got excited because I thought something major was going to happen. Nothing happened. So this time I expect it to be like Axiom or something like that to accept the challenge and get beat, which sucks. All right, so we closed the show with Grayson Waller crashing the production truck. And he yelled at Shawn Michaels, saying that Shawn Michaels is Mr. WrestleMania, so he's going to be Mr. Stand and Deliver. And him and Shawn were going to talk about that on a special episode of Grayson Waller Effect at Roadblock. So he invited Shawn to his show to discuss him becoming Mr. Stand and Deliver. And apparently to verbally berate Shawn for him not being NXT champion right now. Grayson Waller, they made everybody wait for him all night. So that means that they value him. But this show was kind of mid. It was a lot of matches, a lot of really short segments. Nothing that tied anything together, which is what I'm looking for in these shows. I'm always looking for glue that ties everything that's happening in the show together. Storyline that goes through the show. I don't really care about, these matches too much, but there needs to be something happening. Like Gigi returning was fun, but we didn't get a big fiery babyface promo from her. We didn't get to see her chase JC James through the parking lot into the cars, and then kick the car doors as JC James is in it, and she drove off, without putting her seatbelt on or anything. Like that's the kind of stuff you want to show, throughout the show. Instead of Gigi's back, and now we're not ever going to go back to that. And it's like, oh, okay, thanks for this. I appreciate this. You can do more than one segment per night. You can. And certain things you do want to have more than once, and you can rotate that. Let's say the Kiana James Fallon Henley thing, right? They showed that twice. There was 2 segments of Fallon Henley. Fine, I'm cool with that. Even if I don't really care for the story, at least the story is moving on. At least is a reason for me to continue watching the show, so I don't know what's going on. And you're rewarding me for continuing to watch the show. There are some things that you could continue. There are other things that you probably shouldn't continue, but there are some things you can continue. And one of my big issues with wrestling today is how they don't really tell the stories, and they just focus on either excessive amounts of angles or successive matches. And sometimes, like this show, they do both. There's excessive amount of angles and matches. And well, not even angles, but promos and matches. And it seemed like some of the promos didn't go anywhere. Like Nikita Lyons being out there to say that Tiffany Stratton looks sus. Kind of silly. Kind of silly. She's going to be gone for 12 months. You really should have just had somebody else say all this and do all this. And just saved her. Or, if she's going to be the investigator, she should be doing something else instead of standing there. And why is she calling sus? Jesus. Modern day language. Anyway. I didn't really like this episode of NXT. Still like the brand, but it's kind of dry. It's time to shake things up. Stand and Deliver, Roadblock, or whatever is coming. It can't come fast enough. But what say you? Like, share, subscribe. I'll talk to you guys later, man. Peace out.
MagMongoSlade. Best house I ever drew, Daddy.